Our top story tonight, the president goes on Arab television to denounce the abuse of Iraqi prisoners. We'll have reaction to what the president said and what he didn't say.
And then dramatic video of an out-of-control helicopter. Will have the latest details for you. Plus, caught on tape, women are being attacked and groped in one Southland community. Coming up, the search for the suspects.
And it's an awesome sight. A car dangles on the brink of disaster. Good evening, I'm Hal Fishman.
And I'm Lynette Romero.
We begin tonight with breaking news from Iraq, where a car bomb exploded a short time ago near the main U.S. headquarters complex in Baghdad. It's now just 8 o'clock, a Thursday morning in Baghdad, and first videotape of the scene shows vehicles burning and shop windows shattered by the blast. Witnesses said the car was lining up to be searched at the entrance to the so-called green zone when it exploded. At least 5 people were killed by the bomb, although there is no word yet of any American casualties. If there are further developments, we'll bring them to you through this news broadcast. President Bush made unprecedented personal appearances today on 2 Arab-language television networks. It was an attempt at damage control in the region over photographs of Iraqi prisoners being abused by their American captors. But the crisis is certain to grow in the coming days, with lawmakers demanding a full investigation. KTLA Washington correspondent Grant Rampey is live at the Pentagon with more on tonight's top story. Good evening, Grant.
Evening, Hal. Today's message from the White House, aimed at the entire Arab world, represents something pretty extraordinary, a personal effort by the commander-in-chief at damage control.
It's a matter that reflects badly on my country.
President Bush appearing on 2 Arab television networks today, part of the administration's effort to douse the wildfire of anger aroused by these pictures.
I want to tell the people of the Middle East that the practices that took place in that prison are abhorrent, and they don't represent America.
The president all but saying, "I'm sorry." Others on his team aren't holding back.
I would like to personally apologize to the people of Iraq.
My army has been embarrassed by this. My army has been shamed by this. And on behalf of my army, I apologize for what those soldiers did to your citizens.
As for why the president himself isn't saying those 2 little words.
Well, we've already said that we're sorry for what occurred, and we're deeply sorry to the families and what they must be feeling and going through as well.
Outside the Abu Ghraib prison, site of the abuse, protesters are calling for action, not words. While inside, guards are trying to show that conditions are already improving.
We have nothing to hide. We believe in transparency.
But the Bush administration knows these photos have opened up a wound that won't soon heal. The president promises the investigations will be thorough, the results will be clear to the world, and justice will be served.
We will do to ourselves what we expect of others. When we say you've got human rights abuses, take care of the problem, we will do the same thing. We're taking care of the problem.
Here in Washington tonight, questions are being raised about Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld's future with the Bush administration. The president said to be upset, as are lawmakers, that Rumsfeld didn't let them know last week that this scandal was about to break. Coming up on Friday, Rumsfeld will testify before the powerful Senate Armed Services Committee. Live at the Pentagon, Grant Rampey, KTLA News. Hal.
3 powerful bombs exploded in Greece today, just 100 days before the scheduled start of the Summer Olympics. The blasts occurred outside a police station in Athens, the site of this year's games. Nobody was injured. An anonymous caller warned of the attack, and the building was evacuated. Investigators try to downplay terrorism concerns. They blamed local extremists rather than any organized terror organization. U.S. Olympic officials say the bombings would not deter them from having American athletes in Athens at the start of the games in August.
In Riverside County, cooler temperatures and diminishing winds helped weary firefighters today in their battle against 2 major wildfires. But thousands of people remain evacuated tonight. The Cerrito fire between Corona and Lake Elsinore is 30% contained. It has consumed 11,000 acres since it began on Monday. A man accused of negligently causing the fire has been arrested. 6 structures were destroyed, including 2 unoccupied homes. 8 firefighters suffered minor injuries. And the Eagle Fire near Temecula is 60% contained tonight after charring 8,800 acres. This fire started Sunday and has since destroyed 25 structures, including 14 homes. 2 firefighters suffered minor injuries. Hundreds of people have been evacuated.
Federal investigators are still waiting to speak with the pilot of a news helicopter that spun out of control and crashed onto a rooftop in Brooklyn, New York. That dramatic accident was captured on videotape. The pilot clearly fighting to keep the helicopter in the air. It finally strikes one rooftop, then it crashes through a low wall and topples onto the roof of an adjoining building. All three people on board WNBC's Chopper 4 survived the crash, but the pilot and a reporter both remain hospitalized tonight. Meanwhile, the National Transportation Safety Board has moved the wreckage to a hangar for a thorough mechanical inspection.
Martha Stewart won't be getting a new trial. The federal judge today turned down Stewart's request for a second trial. The appeal was based on Stewart's claim that her right to a fair trial was compromised when juror Chappelle Hardridge failed to disclose a prior arrest in a domestic dispute on his questionnaire. The judge's decision clears the way for a hearing next month at which Stewart could be sentenced to more than a year in prison for lying about a stock sale.
Authorities are searching for a suspect who stabbed a doctor at UCLA Olive View Medical Center in Sylmar last night. Police say the suspect was trying to enter the psychiatric emergency room through a locked door. When the doctor asked him what he was doing, he grabbed her, stabbed her in the neck and abdomen, and then escaped. Police describe the man as 5'8". He's Latino with a shaved head and wearing dark clothing. Investigators are trying to determine if he was a visitor or a patient. The doctor's wounds are not believed to be life-threatening.
There was another groping in Costa Mesa. This time it was all caught on tape, and authorities hope the surveillance images will help them catch at least one of the 6 men suspected of inappropriately touching 11 different women. Let's go live now to Ted Garcia in Costa Mesa for the latest on this story. Ted.
Well, a group of gropers is terrorizing young women here in the 700 block of Victoria in Costa Mesa. Their latest attack was on Monday, and their latest victim was an innocent customer at this 7-Eleven. Take a close look at this surveillance video taken at a Costa Mesa 7-Eleven. Police say the guy in the red t-shirt just assaulted the woman at the counter. Watch again. You can see him and 3 alleged accomplices walking into the store at the corner of Victoria and Placentia, then bending down behind her.
One of the suspects saw a female victim standing at the counter. He bent over and grabbed her inappropriately on the buttocks.
Investigators say the suspect actually briefly put his hand up the woman's skirt. This is the 11th attack since the start of the year. The MO is always the same.
Their MO is to come up from behind the victim, touch them on the breast or the buttocks, and run away.
So far, the attacks haven't gone beyond groping, but authorities want to make sure things don't turn even more violent. So do local residents like Deborah Herman.
It's pretty bad. Like, I'm riding my bike because I don't want to get caught or anything.
Wow. So you've changed the way you do things because of these guys?
Yeah.
There are 6 known suspects. Police have released sketches of 2 of them. One is a Hispanic man, 23 to 26 years old, 5'7" to 5'11". He weighs 170 to 180 pounds and has a shaved head. The other is also a Hispanic man, about 23 years old, 5'6", 150 pounds. He has dark skin and was wearing a tan hat. It's possible this suspect is the same man seen in the 7-Eleven video. All right, now the victims have all been between the ages of 18 and 30. They've all been alone except for one woman who was pushing her baby in a stroller. If you recognize any of these suspects, you're asked to call the Costa Mesa Police Department. Live tonight in Costa Mesa, Ted Garcia, KTLA News.
A new wave of fear is spreading through the adult movie industry tonight with yet another porn star testing positive for the virus that causes AIDS. That scare and a quarantine list of performers has virtually shut down the San Fernando Valley's multi-billion-dollar pornography industry. Jim Nash is live at an AIDS testing center in Van Nuys and has the latest for us. Jim?
Hi, Al. It's here on Ventura Boulevard, where thousands of adult film actors and actresses are tested for HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases. And now that the LA County Health Department says it wants to begin forcing every one of those actors to use condoms, a major producer in the industry says it'll only drive the whole industry underground and out of town.
Yeah, it scares me a lot. It lets me know that people aren't careful.
Adult film actress Rachel Horowitz talks about the news that now a 4th person in her industry has tested positive for HIV. Last month, actor Darren James tested positive, and now so have 3 of the women he recently worked with. The industry now under its own self-imposed production freeze and quarantine.
Everybody involved in this, it's a real calamity, honestly, but the system, it proved this system worked.
The system of blood tests every 60 days, and then a clean bill of health so porno actors can work with some confidence they won't be infected. Max Hardcore is a major adult film actor and producer. He insists that the $10 billion industry based in the San Fernando Valley can police itself. Hardcore worries that if the LA County Health Department begins mandatory condom use for actors, it will simply drive the business underground.
Most likely what would happen is that while the industry went underground, it also left the state. And
where?
To many places, to Las Vegas, to Mexico, to Canada.
And he says very likely the industry would move beyond the reach of any reliable HIV testing system. And we also need to report to you tonight that besides those 4 adult film actors that all worked together and all tested positive for HIV, this very same lab has now found that a 5th person, a transsexual adult film actor, has also tested positive. So what we have are actually 2 HIV scares that are running now through the adult film industry. We're live in Sherman Oaks. Lynette, back to you in Hollywood.
A construction worker who survived having 6 nails driven into his head made his first public appearance today since that accident. Jamie Chambers has the story.
The x-rays are shocking. 6 nails lodged into the back of Isidro Mejia's head. The 39-year-old construction worker says he fell and the nail gun just went off. Medics rushed him to Providence Holy Cross Medical Center. When doctors got to him, he was already in a coma. Riddled with nails, doctors didn't know if they could save him.
There were 6 nails, 5 in the, 4 in the cranium, 1 in the spinal column, cervical, and 1 in the base of the skull going into the face.
The metal projectiles were 4 inches long. Doctors say any of the nails could have been fatal. With all of the medical training to become a neurosurgeon, the procedure consisted of pulling the nails out slowly and hoping there was no internal bleeding.
Patient with that injury, that is unique, being in coma, did not have too much hope that he will survive.
Nail guns are used by framers when building a wooden structure. Most nail guns have safeties mounted over the barrel to make sure accidents like this don't happen. The Sheriff's Department says this incident is not criminal, but Cal OSHA safety inspectors are looking into the equipment to see if it was modified in any way. Mejia says the recovery hasn't been easy. He's lost some strength and has problems speaking. Miraculously, doctors say he will make a full recovery. From Providence Holy Cross Medical Center in Mission Hills, Jamie Chambers, KTLA News.
Just ahead here on News at 10, Senator John Kerry stirs up a controversial issue here in Los Angeles, plus this.
I was just so scared because I couldn't breathe because they were just kicking me and kicking me.
Well, you've seen it in the movies. Now hear the story of some real-life mean girls.
Plus the latest on an emotional battle brewing in one local community. Plus a brief commentary tonight, and we'll be right back.
The Spanish simulcast is brought to you by your Southern California Nissan dealers.
I signed up for SBC Unlimited Nationwide Long Distance for just $20. Now I can talk all I want for as long as I want. And to top it off, I also got my choice of a great gift from Harry and David to send to a friend or to keep for myself. But it's a limited time offer, so you need to call now.
Sign up now for SBC Unlimited Long Distance and get an exquisite gift from Harry and David. Or call now for rates as low as 5 cents per minute with a $3 monthly charge.
This spring, come to Lowe's and let your ideas build. Only Lowe's has top choice lumber. Every piece square, straight, solid, and strong. Lowe's also has a huge selection of the brand name building materials the pros depend on. And Lowe's guarantees low prices every day. That's our promise. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
Buy $350 or more of Owens Corning shingles, get a $50 gift card free.
Hyundai Sonata, with America's best warranty. It's more car for the money. And now, the Sonata is J.D. Power & Associates' highest-ranked entry midsize car in initial quality.
Closed captioning is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealer.
In Washington, 2 female students are accused of beating a 14-year-old girl unconscious at a school dance.
What they did to me was not fair, and that they're animals. That's how you can describe them, like animals. I was just so scared because I couldn't breathe because they were just kicking me, and my friends were trying to get them off, but they just wouldn't stop.
Authorities say the incident was triggered by an argument between several girls at a middle school dance for honor students. Witnesses say after the verbal dispute, Anahi Espinoza walked away, and that's when she was assaulted and kicked numerous times. Espinoza was taken to a nearby hospital and treated for cuts and bruises. The 2 attackers, ages 12 and 14, could face felony assault charges.
A basketball coach has been banned from coaching in order to attend sensitivity training after giving a 13-year-old boy a crybaby award. As we reported last night, the head coach at a middle school in New Jersey presented a team member with the award at a banquet last month. Well, in addition to being banned from coaching, the 24-year-old teacher must give a public apology and give the boy the same trophy other players received. The boy's father says the award humiliated his son, and all he wanted was his son to be treated like everyone else.
Some members of a community in the Athens area are expressing outrage tonight following the fatal shooting of a 25-year-old man by 2 LA County Sheriff's deputies. Officials said the deputies saw Dwight Slater running and stopped to investigate. Now, the members in the community, they objected to the shooting. What happened in the situation here is that officials said Slater was running. They stopped to investigate. They claimed Slater pulled out a handgun and pointed it at the deputies, who opened fire in self-defense. Slater died later at a hospital. His best friend claims the deputies shot and killed an innocent man.
Serve anybody's community because they don't know how. Hey, come on.
A spokesperson from the sheriff's headquarters says that deputies recovered a loaded gun at the scene of this deadly confrontation.
A new initiative to fight gun crime is a success, according to federal and local law enforcement officials. It has resulted in dozens of arrests and higher prison sentences for offenders.
In 2002 and 2003, Project Fed Up led to nearly 70 repeat offenders being prosecuted in federal court. And these criminals have received sentences totaling more than 200 years in federal prison.
The arrests took place across Orange County after the initiative's focus on teamwork between law enforcement agencies was implemented. Project Fed Up coordinates efforts to investigate gun offenses and to prosecute them in a state or federal court where the offenders will receive maximum sentences. Project Fed Up is Orange County's version of Project Safe Neighborhoods, a national program created by President Bush. Computer experts raised serious doubts about the reliability of electronic voting machines. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission heard testimony today in Washington, D.C. One expert told the panel that the new systems have not been equipped with adequate security safeguards. 30% of voters nationwide are expected to cast their ballots electronically in November. Supporters of the machine say changes at this point will only lead to more confusion for voters and poll workers. Last week, California decertified all touchscreen voting systems.
Democratic presidential hopeful John Kerry brought his campaign to Southern California today. He joined a Cinco de Mayo celebration in El Sereno. Warren Wilson has more on Kerry's visit.
The presidential hopeful was greeted warmly by an enthusiastic audience, including Woodrow Wilson High School seniors who for the first time will vote in a presidential election. He was accompanied by his wife, Teresa. She introduced her husband as a man who had hope, ideas for the future, and a great sense of nobility of service.
And so he volunteered to fight in Vietnam. And so he volunteered to work. And so he volunteers once again to take us into another world of possibility
Kerry attacked Bush's fiscal policy, failures in health care, education, and accused him of laying down his arms in fighting for money to support his No Child Left Behind Act. He told his listeners that President Bush should apologize to the world for the treatment of Iraqi prisoners of war.
The President of the United States needs to offer the world an explanation and needs to take appropriate responsibility. And if that includes apologizing for the behavior of those soldiers and what happened, we ought to do that.
The dedicated war veteran scored heavily with his target audience.
So far, Kerry's got my vote. I turned 18 too in April, so already I could just say he has my vote.
Now that history has been made here at Wilson High, this campus is unlikely to be the same again, at least for seniors. Kerry's campaign hopes it pays off throughout communities like this one, which is rich with voters who have turned 18 since the last presidential election. From El Sereno, Warren Wilson, KTLA News.
And hundreds of people spent today in downtown Los Angeles to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Crowds gathered on Olvera Street. They danced to mariachi music and folk bands while kids were entertained by colorful clowns. Cinco de Mayo honors the victory of Mexican forces over the French in the 1862 Battle of Puebla.
A politically charged documentary from Michael Moore is at the center of a new controversy tonight. The movie is called Fahrenheit 9/11, and it's ignited a year-long battle between Disney CEO Michael Eisner and the head of Miramax Films. Marta Waller is at the Los Angeles Times and joins us now with this report. Marta?
Well, Fahrenheit 9/11, which criticizes President Bush's handling of the September 11th terrorist attacks and connects President Bush's family with Osama bin Laden's family, will not be released through Miramax Films on orders from parent company Disney. The documentary has been a political problem ever since Miramax agreed to finance the movie, and Eisner said his company would not release it. According to the LA Times, Michael Moore's agent, Ari Emanuel, told the New York Times Eisner did not want him to sell the film to Miramax because he was afraid the documentary's exploration of the Bush family's connections to the family of Osama bin Laden might jeopardize tax incentives for its Walt Disney World theme park in Florida, where Jeb Bush, the president's brother, is governor. But when asked, Governor Bush said he isn't aware of any tax breaks given to Disney by the state of Florida. And today, Eisner called Emanuel's claim ridiculous.
That was a year ago. We informed all of our companies that film would easily be distributed by anybody. Everybody wanted that film, and we just chose not to be involved.
Although this was old news to Emanuel, Moore only got official word on Monday that Disney hadn't changed its position. And in a statement today, Moore said, quote, "Some people may be afraid of this movie because of what it will show, but there's nothing they can do about it now because it's done, it's awesome, and if I have anything to say about it, you'll see it this summer, because after all, it is a free country." And for more, you can read the full story by Times writers Paul Brownfield and Elaine Dutka in tomorrow's editions of the LA Times, or log on to KTLA or to latimes.com or KTLA.com. Marta Waller, KTLA News.
In Orange County, the Westminster City Council tonight took up an issue that would ban any official visit to Little Saigon by delegates from communist Vietnam. Walter Richards has the latest on the council meeting.
It's a very emotional issue that runs deep in the Westminster community of Little Saigon. Resolution number 3835 would officially oppose the Communist Party of Vietnam. The Westminster City Council room packed to the max. Even the walls are lined with members of the Vietnamese community. All other residents had to settle for the standing room outside the building, hoping to get inside at some point. Richard Trang Nguyen among the many who came to make their support known for Resolution 3835, an official order that would oppose the Communist Party of Vietnam.
We are the victim of communists in Vietnam.
Trang Nguyen tells me he's had many friends die in concentration camps there. His refuge is America, where he came and settled in Westminster, one of two Southern California cities sharing the largest populations of Vietnamese outside Southeast Asia.
Very lucky for me when I arrived here.
In the past weeks, there have been passionate demonstrations calling for support of the resolution. The emotions displayed here recall the angry protests several years ago in the heart of Little Saigon's business district. That's when a video store owner hung the Vietnamese flag and a picture of communist leader Ho Chi Minh. Peter Chow Nguyen remembers relatives who suffered.
You compare it to with Iraq, the same thing under Hussein, that ruled dictators for 20 years of their country. Same thing with the communists. They ruled the country with iron hand.
Community leaders and residents will have to wait a bit longer to see any action on the resolution. Westminster Mayor Margie Rice wants to study the paperwork before putting it to a vote by the full council. And the earliest that resolution would come up again is in 2 weeks. In Westminster, Walter Richards, KTLA News.
We're only 3 days into the fire season, and Southern California is ravaged by fires, burning 50,000 acres, causing thousands of people to evacuate their homes, some of which have been destroyed. And this is only the beginning of a long, hot summer. We're fighting these battles against fires with dedicated personnel, yet we're not giving them the weapons they should have to save our forests and our homes. We're waging a war with infantry and helicopters, and they do the best they can. But where's the heavy artillery? Where are the heavy bombers? The aging fixed-wing water bombers are rapidly being phased out because of age and deterioration. In fact, 3 of them have recently crashed. The new technology embodied in such planes like the Super Scooper will not be brought to Southern California until at least September. These planes are highly effective in rapid attack on wildfires as soon as they break out. And how about the proven BE-200, which we were first to show you here? Both of these airplanes carry many times the loads of helicopters. They are expensive, but when you figure we all ultimately pay for the devastation caused by these fires, these planes are worth the cost of buying or leasing to prevent the spread of these disastrous fires.
And still ahead, Madonna says get off her property.
Plus, how could a gust of wind blow a young girl over a rooftop? We'll have that bizarre story. Plus, see what happens when valet parking goes horribly wrong. We'll be right back.
2 hours of what the heck? 2 hours of I can't believe it. 2 hours of you've got to be kidding.
It's the greatest moment I've ever seen in my life.
It's a big burly bundle of the best big time ever. 4 episodes, 2 hours, 1 night, and nothing but stuff.
What's wrong with y'all?
You should never try it home.
How bad do you want to be on TV?
2 full hours of Steve Harvey's Big Time.
Tomorrow at 8 on KTLA 5, LA's WB.
This portion of the news is brought to you by your Lexus dealers.
Come celebrate Mother's Day at Ross, where you'll find something very special for Mom. Save up to 65% on the latest styles and the top brands. Mother's Day at Ross. There's no comparison.
Like so many out there wherever you go, who've been told that they need their cholesterol low, you've probably moved to the land of no. No burgers, no cake, no time to relent. You eat right and sweat with the best of intent. That's the right way to start, the right way to go, but many need more help to get bad cholesterol low. It's okay. Ask your doctor about Crestor. You should. With diet and Crestor, you very well could cut bad cholesterol about half while raising the good.
Crestor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of serious side effects.
So ask about diet and Crestor and see just how much lower your bad cholesterol could be. That's the land of success. You'll want to stay there. Crestor can help. Now you're getting somewhere.
I'm not a mechanic, but I've seen motors apart. They're unbelievable. I saw the carbon crud buildup on the valves. You see, now I never knew that was from a lot of gasolines, to be honest with you. But, you know, it makes sense. So, I guess Techron's a good thing, you know? Right?
Help keep vital engine parts clean. Chevron with Techron.
I really don't know what's up with that part.
Here's the buzz. Ross has thousands of Mother's Day gifts for less than $10. Thousands of Mother's Day gifts under $10. Only at Ross.
In Arizona, a 10-year-old girl is in a partial body cast tonight after she was hurt during a freak accident on a trampoline. Alyssa Koffel was jumping on a trampoline at her aunt's house in Tucson when a gust of wind picked up Koffel and the trampoline and hurled them into the air. Koffel's aunt says it looked like a scene out of a movie.
And it just swung up against the house, and it just looked like a scene out of The Wizard of Oz. And you could see her whole body disappearing up above the house.
I was scared and I didn't think I could make it.
Well, apparently there were no reports of any tornadoes in the area, and officials say it was just a freak accident. Koffel ended up with a broken leg near her hip, but doctors say they expect a full recovery.
A World War II-era bomber, one of the most famous planes of the Second World War, blocked the main runway this afternoon at the Van Nuys Airport when the airplane's landing gear collapsed. The B-17 Flying Fortress touched down on runway 16 right at 4:30, but the problem with the gear left the big 4-engine warplane stuck on its belly, right in the middle of the long runway used by biz jets. Now that's a significant problem because Van Nuys is the world's busiest general aviation airport. The runway remained closed for nearly 4 hours while a crane was brought in to lift the aircraft off the ground and move it to a location where it can be repaired. And now we're checking other major stories making news around the world. Southern Lebanon, an Israeli jet fighter fired missiles today at suspected hideouts for Hezbollah guerrillas. The Israeli military said it destroyed 2 buildings. The airstrike came 2 hours after Hezbollah fired at Israeli planes flying over the region. Several shells landed on Israel's side of the border.
Wellington, New Zealand, bare-chested native New Zealanders launched into what's called a haka war dance to protest a controversial land use proposal. Some lawmakers want to nationalize the country's shoreline, but members of the Maori tribe claim the land rightfully belongs to them. They say any government attempt to confiscate the land would violate a treaty signed in 1840.
The Vatican. The Swiss Guard announced plans today to commemorate its 500th anniversary of service to the Pope. A series of celebrations are planned in 2005 and 06, including a 530-mile-long march from Switzerland to Rome. The march will recreate the path taken by the first contingent of soldiers charged with protecting the Pope. The Swiss Guard was founded in 1506 by Pope Julius II.
Buenos Aires, legendary Argentine soccer star Diego Maradona returned to an intensive care unit today. Maradona was released from a hospital just last week. He underwent 12 days of treatment for heart and lung ailments. Doctors would only say that he is now suffering from fatigue and eating problems. He's expected to remain hospitalized for 3 days.
Turning now to the world of entertainment, Hollywood's Kodak Theater welcomes the 67th annual Junior Philharmonic Concert Spectacular. Mindy Babano-Stearns is live from Hollywood with highlights and more in tonight's entertainment report. Mindy?
Good evening, Hal. It is this man that made the impossible dream come true. I'm going to talk about him in just a second. But first, Bobby Brown faces another court date. The R&B singer was ordered to stand trial today on misdemeanor battery charges for allegedly hitting his wife, Whitney Houston, in the face. The charges stem from a December 7th incident last year when Whitney called 911 claiming that Bobby had hit her. However, the couple exchanged smiles in court today and walked out hand in hand. Bobby will return for fingerprinting in July. And when Madonna is home, she doesn't feel like having strangers in the backyard of her $11 million British estate. Madonna and husband Guy Ritchie are challenging a British law that allows ramblers to traipse across 100 acres of her land that is currently labeled open countryside by local officials. Lawyers for Madonna say it's an invasion of privacy.
So you agree? What? You think you're really pretty? Oh, I don't know.
Well, Teen People certainly agrees, as Lindsay Lohan has been named one of the magazine's hottest stars under 25. Her much-publicized rival Hilary Duff also made the cut, as did singer-slash-reality star Jessica Simpson and former pop couple Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. Well, this man might not be under 25, but he certainly could be considered one of the hottest, And most philanthropic people in this city, it's Dr. Ernst Katz, who for 67 years has been giving to the youth and the Junior Philharmonic Orchestra. He founded it so many years ago. It's a dream that's come true for so many kids to feel what music is. He comes out every year to take the podium and lead the kids and entertain the audiences. And here's what happened inside tonight. Of course, the Junior Philharmonic Orchestra from ages 15 to 25 are there to play, and Army Archon co-hosted the event. And the celebrities took the stage: Dick Van Patten, Mr. Doc from Love Boat himself, and Florence Henderson for the Battle of the Batons. And in the end, it was Ms. Florence Henderson with her sing-along to The Sound of Music, which got her the Golden Mike Award presented by Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle, who was the winner in 2002. The man is amazing. He's got a heart of gold, and every year he gives to the children. Children like yourself. Do you like music, sweetie? Yes, well, maybe one day she'll be one of Dr. Katz's subjects for the Youth Philharmonic Orchestra. I'm sure we'll see him again next year. God willing, he's going to go as long as he can and make dreams come true for so many children who have the gift of music in their heart. So live from Hollywood Boulevard, Mindy Urbana-Stearns, back to you guys in the studio.
You know, Lynette, it's nice to see Mindy so interested in classical music, Beethoven, Mozart, Tchaikovsky. I always knew she was, didn't you? Yeah.
Wagner, what about your friend
Oh,
Wagner?
Wagner, yes, definitely. Coming up next, our news at 10, we're going to show you what drove this car to the brink of disaster.
And the government files its first lawsuit under the Do Not Call legislation.
This portion of the news is brought to you by your Southern California Dodge dealers.
Sweetie?
Yeah?
I wrote you something. These last few days won't be forgotten. My love for you will never go rotten. This feeling of joy, nothing can destroy. We're joined like a metal alloy.
That was beautiful.
Doesn't the best mom in the world deserve the best gift in the world? Come to Kohl's Mother's Day sale this Thursday through Saturday and save 60% on all fine and sterling silver jewelry. Plus, handbags are 35% off. And our entire stock of frames is 50% off. KitchenAid's heavy-duty stand mixer is just $199.99. Or treat mom to a Homedics foot massager for just $9.99. Think brands, think value, think ease. Think Kohl's Mother's Day sale this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
George Albert Ralph's had one unbendable rule about quality.
Mr. Ralphs, how do I know your beef is fresh?
Madam, if I wouldn't put it on my table, I wouldn't put it in my store.
Thank you.
At Ralph's, our standards have never wavered. We carry only the finest meats. And right now, standing rib roast or ribeye steaks are just $3.99 a pound. At Ralph's, California's grocer.
Hey kids, look, a fire truck.
Tom was a man of weak principles. Then he got free checking at Washington Mutual. With no hidden fees, it inspired Tom to be more honest.
So what's your story? I've never had a girlfriend and I still live with my mother. Thank you all. Sorry I'm late. I had a job interview. Nailed it. Awesome, Chasey. Have you guys seen Steel Magnolias? I was bawling.
Kudos, Tom.
So sad.
The world needs straight shooters like you.
Before you see the last episode of Friends at 8, see the first episode ever at 7:30 on KTLA 5. It's a special Friends event, the first episode, tomorrow at 7:30 on KTLA 5.
Instead of parking a car, a valet worker accidentally crashed an SUV into an unoccupied BMW. Look at that, sending it halfway off the second floor of a parking garage. Police say the incident happened around 2 o'clock this afternoon in Midtown Atlanta. Witnesses say the BMW was parked at the time of the accident. Emergency crews were able to pull the dangling car back into the garage, and there were no injuries reported.
Updating our top story now. At least 5 Iraqi civilians have been killed in a suicide car bomb attack tonight in Baghdad. Witnesses say the bomber was in a line of vehicles waiting to be searched at the entrance to the Green Zone. That's where U.S. headquarters in Iraq are located. At least a dozen people were wounded in the blast, including 3 U.S. soldiers. 2 of the soldiers are listed in critical condition tonight. A computer glitch at a gas station in Michigan allowed more than 100 people to fill up without paying. Police say the thefts began in late March and occurred at 2 gas stations in Pittsfield Township. The glitch in the system allowed customers to use their driver's license instead of credit cards at the pump. Deputies say the scammers failed to realize the computer system recorded their personal information. Investigators say they've already charged 2 people with third-degree retail fraud, and they plan to prosecute all 107 scammers once they are located.
For the first time, a company is being sued for allegedly violating the Do Not Call list. After receiving about 1,000 complaints, the Federal Trade Commission has accused the National Consumer Council of violating consumer protection laws. The FTC says the company lied about being a nonprofit organization in order to be exempt from restrictions on the Do Not Call list. Once consumers were contacted, investigators say the company scammed customers into giving them money.
We had some knowledge that consumers weren't happy with this organization shortly after the Do Not Call list was first put into place. And we contacted the CEO and in fact were assured that they had stopped the practices.
The Supreme Court has yet to rule on whether it will hear that case.
A work by Pablo Picasso sold for more than $100 million today. Sotheby's sold the 1905 painting called Boy with a Pipe for $104 million, breaking the record for the highest priced auctioned painting. The previous record was $82.5 million in 1990 when a Japanese billionaire bought a painting by Vincent van Gogh. According to the auction house, the Picasso painting was created when the artist was 24 years old in Montmartre, France. The Sotheby's did not say who bought the Picasso painting for $104 million. $104 million.
What would you do with that painting? Hang it in your dining room? I mean...
What I would do with it? I'd put it in a bank vault, I would think. You know.
My goodness.
Still ahead on News at 10, a mountain lion alert is issued in one local community.
And here are tonight's lottery numbers for you. The Super Lotto Plus, 12, 22, 25, 42, 45, and the mega number is 4. The Fantasy 5, 2, 12, 30, 33, and 36. The Midday Daily 3, 3, 3, and 2. The Evening Daily 3, 2, 2, and 6. And here is your Daily Derby, Money Bags, Big Ben, Winning Spirit. The race time, 1:42:48. News at 10 will be right back.
Jennifer York is in Skycap Bob.
Good morning, everybody. We're taking a look at the 170 South. You know, it's our goal to get you where you need to go in the morning. When there's a problem, our focus is to get over that problem, but get you around it as well. We usually know the surface streets that parallel the freeways. We have CHP computers, Caltrans computers, 14 years of flying over these freeways. And then you combine it with this great technology. And we're going to give you the best, the most accurate, the most up-to-date information. When it comes to your morning commute, we are right there with you.
Real people, real news. The KTLA Morning News. The Business Report is brought to you by your Southern Cal.